Number six, focus singularity. And me and Rich, I could spend an hour just discussing this as well. So we do want to respect everyone's time on here, and it was a big point of our lives. And focus singularity is number six. Okay, so this is around certainty. Focus and certainty go hand in hand, and really starts to bring into growth, like us expanding and into us giving. Now, these two books are two of the most power. I went through a phase where all I read was business books, right? And these were two of the most powerful things for me. The one thing, I don't even know how this book ended up on my shelf. I remember lying in our front room and I pointed at Christina. I was looking at the bookshelf and I went, "Do me a favor." I went, "What book stands out for you on that shelf?" And she went, "One thing." And I said, "That's what I thought." So I went, "What's that?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know. I figured it was your book." So I pulled it off. No idea where this book came from. We didn't buy it. So someone left it in my bookshelf and never told me, intentional or not. Anyway, the concept of it, we've got 1,000 levers we can pull in any single moment. I'm a multitasker. No, you're not. You're a fast task switcher. Most of us can't actually multitask. We can't do this and do that simultaneously. We're just switching quickly. So when it comes to life, what it's no different. It's just because these are business books. Even will it make the boat go faster? Is this the concept and idea of like, right, what are we doing and are the things we're doing part of bringing that into fruition? And so for us, your next chapter is the amalgamation of all these and everything that we've talked about thus far. These are just two main anchors that run through it, which is what is the thing we're doing, and are the things you're doing direct related to that thing? That's why these two books go hand in hand, and why they were certainly pivotal in my life, and how and why we've weaved them into what we do inside Sovereign Soul.
And we talk about it, the one thing over a year as well, because you are biologically wired to add things. Right, next slide, mate. It's fine. You're not going to, it's more difficult to kind of remove things from life. We're naturally going to think, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And it's why resolutions never work, because we're trying to stack things on top. So we're big proponents of removing things from life. And the one thing is a super strong way in order for us to do that, basically, because the Zen proverb says you cannot pour more tea into a cup that's already full. To change, you must first empty your cup. And empty it and decide what the one thing, what the tea, the elixir of life is that you're going to put into it, right? And it's become such a focal point in Sovereign Soul because we've seen such effect. And it's quite difficult for people to decide on one thing. And quite often, I don't know if Brett's on the call, but Brett came to us before we did the one thing exercise with him with 143 things. I remember that number so strongly. But through the one thing process, he ended up we helped him to get it down to less than four, which was a massive thing. And now he's basically in a position where he's completely switched up his life, and we spend a lot of time with him and supporting him in lots of different ways. But
Yeah, specifically, like he worked at Visa, I think, and he was something
Mastercard,
to
yeah.
do with the credit and data department. And in less than 4 years, he now has multiple different streams of income. He's self-employed. There was a period where he called us. He went, we always talk about it being that the big button. He was going to press the button and go back to having a job. And we called him as we had a session with him and a little bit of an intervention. And he kind of zoomed out a little bit because he was just going to go back to old patterns. And again, another pivotal thing I know that he looks back on to say, wow, I'm so glad I didn't do that. So the point is that when you're full of stuff and then you're in the wrong environment and all these different things add up, it's no wonder years pass and we're like, I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve. Well, you're not even in alignment and you're trying to pull 400 levers all at the same time.
I mean, we talk a little about 80/20 there, but the 80/20 is just a representative of kind of bringing the one thing into focus that sort of, 20% of your activities are going to give you 80% of results. 80% of your customers, if you've got a business, are going to give you, sorry, 20% of your business, your customers are going to give you 80% of your results. It works in that way and all the way through into satisfaction. So focusing on the small things actually and the one thing over a year, which is what we help people to do,
Mhm.
actually creates it because people will always overestimate what they'll do in a month or 2 months and completely underestimate what they'll do in a year if they use this process. So everyone is always trying to do way too much. And so the question becomes, what will you remove from life work or the courses you want to do, or your to-do list in order to sort of siphon that down to focus on one thing for the year to make it a singularity? And the question that we will ask you, and the question that you need to ask yourself is, what's the one thing that you could achieve so that this time next year, 12 months, you could look back and say the last 12 months has been and was a success for me. You're taking all of the different things you've kind of looked back over the years, you're reflecting on what's gone on, and you're projecting forward to kind of think of that. And it's such a key point that it is the singularity. And we see it more and more so often in next chapter, where answering that question becomes key to everyone's success and happiness.